first time. I'm excited.
Okay. Hello, everyone. We are coming to you across multiple platforms. So if technical issues should arise, we will work with that in real time. we
We'll
are
just figure it out.
we are two millennials trying to do the YouTubey TikToky things, and I've never felt older in my entire life. How is everyone doing? TikTok, Ben, how are you doing? You tell me about you.
I'm Ben, everybody. I think I've been on Sarah's show a couple times. I'm doing great. I'm enjoying not the last days of summer, because crucially we are in the middle of summer, but the last days of summer before school.
Yes.
For sure.
School's starting earlier and earlier. It's such a bummer.
Every year. Anyway, I'm on here to talk. I'm one of the nephews of the Sister Wives family, and I'm here to talk about the new show the new trailer that just dropped. Because I've been much slower than I had thought. I thought I could crush all 17 seasons in like a couple of weeks, and I did season 1, and I was like,
It's a lot. I can't imagine, I'm doing a rewatch. On Mondays I go live with he's another content creator named James, My Take on Reality, and we're into season 3. So we started at the beginning, and it's a lot. It's sad, it's nostalgic. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of, especially knowing kind of the way it all goes down. There's a lot of foreshadowing in it.
Yeah.
They couldn't have written it any better than it happened. So yeah, it's fun. It's been interesting to observe it and to kind of see what everyone else, hey Elizabeth, what everyone else is sort of seeing, and then sort of to kind of have my unique perspective on it, because I grew up in that I was in a much actually more extreme version of that worldview than Cody and his family. So it's always a little weird to see people bashing my liberal uncle, because I'm like, you guys, you don't understand how progressive this guy is.
That's, I always reference. So first and foremost, this is Benjamin Brown. He is so much more than just ex-polygamy nephew of the Sister Wives. He's a comedian. What is your heathen comedian prophet? Ben, you had a book.
Prophet.
Yeah. And a book recommender. Tell us about it.
I do. Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for beginning there, because I'm very excited to come on and talk about polygamy. Obviously, it's something that people are fascinated by, but also as someone who is sort of an advocate and a voice for people who are coming out of that world and often get sort of pigeonholed into only being that. I wanted to just start and just say, like, hey, I'm Ben. I'm more than just a former polygamist. And I wanted to share something cool that happened to me recently that's sort of like entirely outside of the world of polygamy, but still very fun for me. So I got given this book actually on Wednesday. It's called The Go-Giver. And the premise of this book, it's a business book, so it's like super gimmicky, but it's also really brilliant. And the premise of the book is that the way that humans create abundance is by giving.
Awesome.
When we give things, when we are generous in our giving to other people, and we care more about how we, more about what we give than what we get, that automatically creates a whole bunch of abundance around us. So I devoured this book Wednesday afternoon. It was super great. And as a comedian, I'm about 3 years into the comedy career, and so I started headlining about a year ago, and I'm trying to find ways to get regular stage time and then also get paid. And so about 6 months ago, I started a local comedy show in my neighborhood. I called it Night Break Comedy, because I live in a neighborhood called Daybreak. And
nice.
Basically, it's fun. So what I would do is I have a friend who's a manager of a coffee shop, and I went to them and I was like, hey, can I do a pop-up comedy show in your coffee shop? And they were like, yeah, that'd be rad. So I started doing that. And I've done probably 12 to 18 shows. And they've been really fun, but also as the summers happened, like the first one sold out, it was really great. And then it sort of like tapered off, kind of the energy sort of dwindled. And I was kind of in this spot where I was like, I really want, I've got these shows there every week and I need a new splash of energy. I need something new to happen with them.
Right.
So I had just read this book, and basically what the book says is if you are stuck, then you should give something away. And so I was like, well, I feel stuck. So I have a show on Saturday tomorrow. And I'm like, and it's great. Like I bring down, I've got a nationally touring comedian. I've got a couple of local comics who are like, it's going to be a really quality show. And
Amazing.
Tickets I've been selling for like $22.22 because I'm that person. And
I love it.
And so what I decided is I was like, what the hell? I'll just give this away. So I got on my socials and I got on everywhere where I promote it. And I just said, hey, everybody, my gift to you all is a free comedy show tomorrow night. I still had them get tickets because I can only seat 69 people in the venue, which is not a joke. It's actually what the fire marshal said. But I'm going to get a hat that's blinged out and it says 69, and whoever gets the 69th ticket, they get to wear the hat.
Nice.
So it's fun. It's like a fun creative thing. But I did that, and I did that last night, and then this morning I wake up and they're all gone. So it didn't sell out, but it gave out, right? All of them are gone. It's going to be a packed show. It's going to be awesome, which is really exciting. Like the energy of that is really fun, that I get to do like a full show tomorrow night. And then today I was thinking, I'm sort of like, okay, I gave away $1,500. So by the law of this book that I just read, which I now believe is true, I should be receiving some stuff. So I was just curious. I'm like, what am I going to receive today? And then I connected with this guy that I'd met at an apartment complex that I've been hosting like these weekly lunches at. So there was this guy, he's one of the marketers of that apartment complex. They're trying to get more people to know about them and to kind of create a splash in the community. And so I had this thought, and I went to him and I was like, hey dude, I just gave away this show and it's created a bunch of positive energy, tons of interest. It sold out, it gave out. What would you think about having this it's called Novel Apartments. I'm like, what would you think of Novel Apartments giving another show to the community? And I'm like, it's only $1,500 and you can give, and he was like, hell yes, we're in.
Oh, cool.
Now I get to do another show that I get to give away for free to the people who come, and it's sponsored. So it was just kind of a cool reminder of what we're doing here, right? Of the game that we're actually playing as humans. And I think that the game that we're playing, I think there are two ways to play the game. I think you can play the game and be really focused on what you can get and what you can sort of extract and get out of other people, or you can be focused on what you can give to people. And so I want to play the giving game. So I actually have a gift to offer right now to anyone who's watching this live. I have an ebook called My Dad Still Owes Me a Pig, which is about growing up on the polygamous compound. Usually I sell it for $3.33. Over the course of this live, as my gift to anyone who wants it, it's free. All you have to do is go to my TikTok profile and you can just click on a link, and there's a link on my profile. You can click on it and you can download it free as a gift from me to you. Thanks for listening to my spiel about gifts.
Thanks. That's awesome. Everybody go over all of Ben's socials, including his TikTok. If you are here on YouTube, obviously, if you are on the TikTok, you already know this, but in the description of this live, all of Ben's socials are linked. So you can click on the link to his TikTok and grab that free copy. That's so amazing and generous, Ben. Thank you.
Thanks. I've realized I really like giving. So we can talk polygamy now. I will now put on the mantle of polygamist prophet, and we can get into this.
Okay. So season 9, 19. This
19.
That is amazing.
That's actually like say what you want about the show, and I have and will. 19 seasons is a huge success.
And just for, honestly, I will say because I have I have been critical of your uncle Cody, and I will say he has a strong constitution for just withstanding all of that, you know.
He is a Mormon man. He was bred to be persecuted.
That is an interesting because you said that, let's start off. So let's talk the trailer. And here is kind of the best of Cody from the season 19 trailer.
Oh my God. Okay, here we go.
Hold on one second. We'll back that up a little.
What did I do to deserve this? What did I do wrong? Such a teenage drama. Civil war. Total civil war. Blame yourself if I don't love you, okay?
Did you catch that at the end? Blame yourself if I don't love you.
It was a little garbled, but it sounded like he said, "What did I do wrong? What did I do to deserve this?"
Yeah, and then he says, blame yourself if I don't love you.
Oh, that's harsh. That's very harsh.
One of the things that real quick that I've commented when I've reported on things you've said on your TikTok is that I find you to be very careful in what you say. Like you're critical of the lifestyle, obviously, but like you are very careful not to drag anyone through the mud.
Yeah.
I find Cody to be a lot less careful, and he like I feel like you take into consideration all of your family members before you say something. I don't see the same consideration come from Cody, and especially when I think of some of the things that we've seen over the last few seasons that he said to like Christine and Meri in particular, to know that his children, I mean, and we know that one of his kids, Mackenzie, certainly does watch the show. To know that his kids can watch the show and hear and see what he says about their mother, how does that jive with you? Because you seem to be so considerate.
Yeah, I think that I have the benefit of being a little further along in the timeline than he is. So I've done, and I don't know what kind of like healing work he's done. I don't know if he's done therapy or anything like that. I suspect that I've probably done more inner work than he has.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think that I just have a more compassionate view of people, where I don't think people are bad. I think people are damaged and are often executing multi-generational patterns of behavior. And so if I'm going to engage in critique of someone or criticism of someone, which I actually think is important and valid of me to do, I think it's okay for me to talk about another person's behavior and say, I find this behavior to be inappropriate, because that's the only way that we create boundaries as people to define what is and isn't okay. So I think that that's okay to do, but it would be antithetical to my values to do that from a space of that person is bad, or that person doesn't deserve. The only thing that person deserves from me is compassion, and that's not always easy. There have definitely been people in my life who have hurt me, for whom it has been very difficult to generate compassion. But I'm always happier when I do. Right? Yeah. I'm always more settled in who I am. I always feel better about myself if I can approach, a disagreement with compassion. And that's what I'm trying to put out into the world, is more, compassion is, if you look at the root of that, right? Passion is suffering, calm is with. So it's engaging and understanding and suffering with people.
Yes.
And there's just enough. God, there's just enough suffering. Like, I don't want to create more by being a jerk.
I think that that's so such an astute thing to say, and part of what I've noticed, especially these last couple seasons, and we'll see as we go through this trailer, your aunts seem to have made a certain kind of peace with what is, and but the person who seems the most miserable is Cody. It's like his own, it's affecting him, and now there's like no one to kind of spread that load around. It's all either internal or with Robin.
Yeah, I think that the wives have experienced a liberation, and they're coming for the first time in their lives. They're coming to a place where they are really owning their story and their power, and Cody's losing something, right? Like, and I actually have a lot of, I have some again, more compassion, more compassion here, which is that when you're raised as a Mormon man, to no longer be a Mormon man, right? To sort of step out of that programmed mindset, right? That character that you're playing, it's just like what's going on with white men in America, right? The reason white men in America are becoming aware that they are not as important or relevant or powerful as they used to be. And I think there's two ways to respond to that. I think that number one, you could be like, thank God. Thank God, because we were way too powerful, way too dominant, and we didn't do great things with that power and dominance. We actually fucked things up pretty well. So I'm glad that I'm taking a step back. I'm actually happy to have a reduction in my power so that other people who are equally deserving and have had less power get to have more power, right? So I think that is, if you are a white man in America right now, I think that is the way that you should respond, because that's just the facts. The facts of America are that white men were in charge for too long and we didn't do a great job. So take a back seat and chill out. And I think there's another way to respond to that, which is to grasp at it, to be like, no, that's my power. Give me back my power. And I think if that's what your orientation is, then you're going to feel like something has been taken from you, even though all that has really happened is that everything's been equalized now, and it hasn't yet, right? Like there's still we still have a long way to go till that happens, but that's what's happening. And so if you don't, and I think that's where, when I hear that last thing that Cody says, where he says, if you wanted me to love you, you should have done better, or something like that.
Blame yourself if I don't love you.
Yeah, blame yourself if I don't love you. That to me reeks of like red pill bullshit of men talking at women, telling them how great they are and why they should just, like, no, like if you want to have the favor of a woman, then you should act in a way that earns that favor. And to be like, oh, well, you need to prove yourself worthy of that's not the game. That's not the game, actually, right? Like that's not going to endear you to anyone.
This is true. So where we pick up, so you obviously know your family, and we all follow them on social media. So we know the show is about, I would say, like 18 months to 2 years behind. Where we're at in the show is we're picking up right on the heels of Meri and Cody officially making things official, and Janelle kind of establishing herself as a single lady. I noticed in this trailer, which was about 2.5 minutes long, almost a minute, about 50 seconds of the trailer is dedicated to Meri. So let's take a look at some of her content from the trailer.
Officially done.
Are you serious?
I'm not joking.
Like, our marriage is over.
Do you remember that I have that house in Utah?
It's going to be healthy for Meri to live away.
I'm not your wife anymore.
It's not divorce that sucks, it's marrying the wrong person.
What sucks is marrying the wrong person and not having the decency to tell her until 32 years later. I'm not going to take sides. I'm not going to be in the ex-wives club. I'm not in the Cody and Robin club.
I didn't know we were having a fight here.
I wish I wouldn't have ever married her.
That is so not fair to me. I would have rather you had told me, Cody, years ago.
Blame yourself if I don't love you, okay?
And there's that that gem of a.
Again.
But so you know what
Yeah.
it's like. I have to imagine, like, so Cody has like all this time to like obviously stew on what he's gonna say, like prepare what he's gonna say in these moments on this couch to offer his commentary, and that's what he says.
Well, and I don't know this for sure, but I wonder if the reason why is because he's trying to appeal to a different audience. Right? Because I think the people that resonates with are men who are having trouble with women. they're either divorced, they're incels, whatever. I think it's that. I think there's a whole bunch of men in America who are feeling a significant reduction in their power, and rather than be creative and I don't know, creative and honest and deal with that, they're blaming women for it. And so that's kind of what that sort of feels like, is maybe that he's, because I can't imagine going on national television and saying stuff like that without a strategy. Like that's pretty inflammatory, right? Like that's a pretty inflammatory thing to say. And you know, I wouldn't do something like that unless I knew why I was doing it.
That's really interesting, because we heard about I think in season 18 he's talking to I think one of his younger brother was there, and a couple of his friends, and he's talking about how he got sucked into the manosphere.
Yeah.
And he's been like really bitter, and you could just see like he seems really just negative.
Yeah, which I get, right? Like I have also gone through a divorce. I only did one. I have not done 3.
You're right.
And so I can imagine that is a very, like, that's very painful, right? And we also have a tendency to paint our past based on what's happening in our present, right? So him saying, I wish I never would have married her. Sure, that's how he feels now. That's probably not how he felt for the first 10 or 15 years of their marriage, right? I'm sure he's rewriting, and we all do this, right? When our present changes, we go back and the past rewrites itself.
Yes, definitely. I also noticed how, because we already saw Christine and David get married because TLC decided to do some things out of order. There was a moment where Christine's dad, Rex, says that like Cody called him and was like, I can't believe I lost her, or said something to that effect. And it was like, really? He said that? Because he's been acting real awful on TV for the last like 2 years.
Yeah, and again, I can believe both of those things are true, right? Like we are so complicated as humans. Can I say, because we talked about Cody again, can I say what I'm really excited about from that clip around Meri?
Yes.
I and this is Meri, this is Janelle, this is Christine, this is for all, for all 3 of them. I'm thrilled to see them stepping into their own lives and really being like, I am now. And so like her decide, I've got this house, I'm going to go and do my own thing. I love that for them as people that I care about. And I also love that for them as sort of archetypes of polygamist women, right? Like if you actually pause for a minute and think about the arc of Sister Wives, what it really is a show about is it's a show about 3 women who have been hoodwinked into a worldview that none of them actually likes or enjoys. And over the course of 19 seasons, we see them slowly figure that out. And I think the place where this becomes the most interesting and the most fun, where the show actually starts, is now. I think a way more interesting show than what went down is what do these three women do with their new, how do they engage in the world? What do they do in the world that's not polygamy anymore? What do they go out and do? Like that, I think is the more interesting story.
Absolutely. And I'm all about a lot of people that watch my channel were thinking, oh, the show should kind of spin off into like a surviving sister wives type show, you know? Yeah. I think we are all here for that.
And what could be even cooler, TLC, listen to this, is if after they spin it off, they could also do things where the sister wives like find other women that want to leave polygamy and help them leave. I think that would be a banger show.
Yeah. Have you ever met Christine's Aunt Kristen?
I think so. She's the one that is not at all polygamist, right?
Right. She's actually like an advocate. And I think she's started an organization that helps people leave polygamy. And she was on an episode of the show where she like debates. She's on a panel that debates.
Oh my God, I cannot wait to see that.
Yeah, that's season 6, I believe.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Yeah. That's a good episode. It's called like Sister Wives on the Ropes.
That's funny.
Let's go to Christine. We're kind of like, we got the end result. Spoiler alert, they get married, and now it's like this is their origin story. Okay. So this is Christine in the season 19 trailer.
Guy, David.
Hi, baby.
We've already planned our second date. I'm just telling you that straight up.
I would like you to meet David.
Ta-da! I think we're meeting Christine's new boyfriend.
Oh my God.
There is nothing. Cody just looks like, all right, I got this baby in my arms. Like, I'm gonna
fight. Yeah, I mean, it's always, who wants to meet their ex's new thing? Nobody.
I completely understand that. But it's interesting because I don't know if it's just that the way that's portrayed in this just like 5-second clip, but it's so dramatic.
So dramatic. Yeah. I'm sure it was probably just a little bit awkward. But what I love about that clip is in one of the most heartbreaking things to me about season 1 is, and this is like heartbreaking about all of polygamy, because in polygamy, you don't get married for love, you get married for God. So it's not about, am I in love with this person? Do I feel this attraction and this connection with this person? I want to build something with them. It's, what does God want me to do, right? Mm-hmm. And usually what God wants you to do, if you're a woman, is be someone's 4th or 5th wife. I don't know why, but that's just what God wants. God is ineffable. We don't know. But so one of the things that was really sad about that show, about season 1, is watching Cody and Robin's obvious attraction.
Yeah.
And realizing that it's very possible that Cody had not had that level of attraction with any of his other wives. Mm-hmm. And so he probably was in a totally new space. And I get that, right? Because I've been in relationships where I didn't have a strong attraction. And then I've been in relationships where you do have a strong attraction. And boy, oh boy, that's a big difference, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was really sad. Like when I remember there's this one image of like when Cody first drives down in like episode 1 or 2, and like he walks in and he's kind of like this, and Robin comes out and she's kind of like, you're just kind of like, you do weird things with your body when the person that you're attracted to is right in front of you. Yeah. Right. You know? Mm-hmm. And it was so cute to see Christine and David doing that when she opened the door, and there's just like this immediate like, and that's fun. I really like that.
Yeah, I'm excited. So one of the things I said in my last video about when I was talking about the trailer is I'm excited to see happy content. So even if we know how it ends, I think especially for Christine who talks about how sad her wedding day was to Cody on the show, I'm happy that she gets to have this like dating experience, this
100%. Yeah. That she gets to feel so good, right? When someone is into you and they're really into you and they show you in all of the different ways that they're into you, that's what is better. What is better in life than that? And I love that she got that. And I think David is adorable. In every shot that every time I've ever interacted with him and seen him look at Christine, I'm always like, this dude is smitten.
Oh,
he cannot believe how lucky he is. And everyone deserves to have someone look at you and to just feel like, how am I so lucky to have this person?
You know, and it's so funny because we talk about this on my channel all the time. Like, we don't begrudge Cody and Robin their love story.
Totally.
But at like, we want that for, we call them the OG3, Meri, Janelle, and Christine. You know, we want that for them. We want that for everyone. And you talk about it so often that like love cannot be multiplied. And this is a perfect example. It's like, you cannot feel that for more than one I don't see Cody. I wanted to ask you, because Cody talks about, he did a interview on like a Mormon broadcast interview.
Oh yeah, with Real Real. I think I've also been on that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he talks about how he knows all of these successful polygamists.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I don't know any.
Okay.
No, I don't know any, and all the ones that I was told to look up to as a kid have 100% fallen apart, or the kids are older now and they're like, yeah, that was shit. So I don't know any. Yeah, and the reason that I think that the reason that I don't know any is because I think that consenting adults can create all different kinds of relationship dynamics that work for them. So if maybe that looks like I have a nesting partner and a boyfriend. Maybe that looks like I'm strictly monogamous. Maybe that means like I'm single and I don't have a life partner, but I have lovers that come into my life, right?
Sure.
There are all kinds of different ways that adult humans can understand what their needs are and then ask the people around them to meet those needs. And I think what separates polygamy from that is it's not about how many wives you have. It's about why you have that many wives. And the constraints that you're using to get those wives. So if you go to someone and you say, look, no one in polygamy sat down, and the reason that people live polygamy isn't because they looked at all their huge buffet of relationship options after having an extensive dating period where they really figured out themselves and sat down and you were like, you know what, after having having had lots of different dynamics of relationships and really explored myself, and now that I'm in my late 20s, I now know exactly what I want in a relationship, and it's to be the third wife of this person. That's not what happens. What happens is they never date anyone because that is bad. That you could trip over and accidentally have sex with someone, so you can't do that. So you don't explore yourself at all. You just isolate yourself, and then you pray to an imaginary being that is actually not really what God really is, but is some dude. It might be your dad. It might be the prophet. It's some dude who's in charge, and you're praying to God through that guy, and then he tells you who you're supposed to marry. So that's not actually an adult making a choice. That's a person in a cult being manipulated to do something.
Yeah.
And just if we could go back to the thing about nobody begrudges Cody and Robin their relationship. I agree with that, and I don't either. And I think like if I could go back and like speak for Cody in that moment when he realizes that, like what I would advise him to say, or like I think what needed to be said there, the truth would have been something like this, right? Would have been for him to say, Christine, Meri, Janelle, I am madly in love with Robin. and I found something with Robin that I couldn't even begin to consider was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I never felt that way with the three of you. And I'm sorry. Believe that you deserve to have that too. So I'm setting you free to go and find that, because I found it and it's magical, right? Like that was another way that this could have gone, of recognizing that there is something special there, and that everyone deserves to have that special thing. And you know, I think that would have been that's another way that could have been handled, rather than I never loved you and you got to earn. No, just accept the reality, which is you found something really special with Robin. Awesome.
Yeah.
Janelle deserves that. And Christine deserves that. And Meri deserves that. And they deserve that. They deserve to have that, and not to watch you have that with another person and not have it with them, which is what they did for most of the show, it sounds like.
Yeah. I have a couple questions from you from the chat. Well, let's take a little side tour. We're about halfway through our segments here. Ben, I have to know, did it change your view of the Browns when you watched the show, or was it no surprise?
Did it change my view? I mean, I think that there were definitely levels of behavior that were more extreme than I have seen in person.
Interesting. Okay.
I tried to sort of compartmentalize a little bit. And in my mind, when I'm watching the show, I am recognizing that I'm sort of observing and interacting with a character that's been carefully crafted by more than just, so like Cody on the show is a carefully crafted character that involves writers, producers, all of these people who are making choices about what to show and what not to show. And that's Cody on the show. And then there's Cody in real life. And I try to keep those two things separate, because I just want people to judge me and to kind of interact with me based on who I am in their lives. And so I try to like offer that to them as well. But I mean, my fundamental feelings on all of them, like I still think Christine is awesome. She's my favorite. I still love Meri and Janelle. I think I wouldn't even say that my views really changed. I think mostly what maybe happened is I became a little bit more aware of the pain and more aware of the suffering that must have been happening. And so I just felt more compassion.
Yeah, because you usually don't know. Like if I think of like my aunt and uncle, I don't know about their like biggest fights or whatever.
Yeah.
There's not 19 seasons of their biggest fights.
I mean, slowly crumbling.
Nobody cares what like I think of my aunt and my aunt and uncle's relationship. So it's all very atypical territory to find yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me we have a fellow content creator podcaster here. This is Amy Archer from Little Miss Recap. She's asking, Ben, do you think Robin ever wanted polygamy, like truly deep down?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, when I watch Robin in in season 1, and she's talking about Cody and his family before the show, they were something really special, right? Like there's one of the tragic ironies to me of this whole thing is that the goal was to show America that polygamy can be healthy and normal, right? That was the goal. And as part of that, it's almost like we kind of gave them our best. And I'm not saying that they were the best. Like, I'm sure other polygamists would fucking hate me for that. But I mean, I remember going to their house and just feeling like overwhelmed by all of the love that's there. A friend of mine, I actually met a comedian recently who lived in Utah, and he was raised by 2 lesbian moms, and he called it a mommune. And I was like, oh, that sounds like what I came from, is a mommune, where there's just a lot of like, you get 3 moms in a house together and the kids can kind of move back. Like there's a lot to really love about that. And I think at that point, Cody's energy was sort of focused, and, so there's, I think, a lot of beautiful, that was portrayed as really beautiful. And I think in many ways it really was. And I think when Robin says that she's attracted to the family, I 100% believe that. I think that she probably saw that family and she thought, wow, how can I get me some of that sweet family love? Can I get my kids involved in that? So yeah, I mean, that's, and I think that, it does fall apart because of other things later, but I think that's probably sincere. I don't have any reason to think that she didn't want polygamy. I think that she probably really did. Yeah. I think now, having been through it, I think she's probably, happy to not be that anymore. But
well, let's cut to Robin, because we get her very briefly in the trailer, and it's. I have thoughts, but I want your thoughts. So here's Robin.
Supposed to go. I feel like the idiot that got left behind.
I'm having a hard time feeling like losing respect for you.
Robin, I can't even get it straight with you right now.
Oh man. Oh God. There's a big brother in me that wants to just take Cody and just be like, oh, buddy. Oh God. Can you imagine having 4 women pissed at you? And not just like four wives, like the level of wives, their wives can be angry at you in a way that no one else can be, right? And to have 4 of those people, 4 of that kind of relationship out, like just totally done with you, even if it was because of the things that you did, right? Like, so I'm not excusing behavior here, but oh man, I'll bet that frustration of like, I can't do anything right, I'm sure that is very sincere. And honestly, probably the gift that the universe is giving him right now, because if he'll sit still and really examine that, right? I feel like I can't do anything right. Okay, great. Let's lean into that a little bit. What have you been doing? Right? Let's actually examine the behaviors, because that's where we're going to find the solution.
Yeah. And I commented that, last season, Cody's big thing was, Robin and I, our biggest crime was that we fell in love, and we've never had a chance to be in love because, he's being pulled all these different directions. And so now he's not, but they don't seem very happy. They don't seem like, oh, well, at least we have each other. They seem miserable.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine like not only Cody's side of it, right, but also Robin, right? Like, can you imagine having your husband very publicly break up with with his 3 wives, and then feeling like I'm sure that was like when she says, I feel like I'm losing respect for you. Yeah, I'm sure, right? Because when no one is at their best in divorce, right? Like when 2 people have tried to make something work and then they stop trying to make it work, and that is a messy business, and that's not a bad thing for it to be messy, right? I actually think that messiness is what sort of the jet fuel that sort of gets those 2 lives apart. So if you're going to have, I think part of a successful divorce is a period of some animosity, right? A period of like some fuck you, because it sort of allows both people to take that fuck. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying fuck or not. Sorry.
Oh, you're totally fine.
Fudge you. That energy sort of allows you to come back into yourself, right? So after a breakup, a divorce, something like that, a little bit of energy of like get away, get out of my energy. I think that's healthy, and that's actually very normal. And to see someone do that 3 different times to 3 different people that they had been so committed to and that you had been a part of, like, that's got to be jarring, right? Because like I would not want my potential new partner to see all of the mean thoughts that I've ever had about, any of my exes, because that's not me at my best. That's me at my, like, get out of here worst, So, that's so hard. It's so messy.
Yeah. Well, wait, hold on. It gets messier. Wait, there's more, because Cody is not giving up on Janelle. Just wait. Yeah. Let's play Janelle's little package.
Intriguing.
Cody and I have officially said it's not working.
The property needs to be paid off.
I've actually thought about asking if he wants to buy me out. He's not talking to me about it, so I think I'm gonna have to lawyer up.
I keep thinking that you and I could make this work.
We have had so many conversations where I've said, it's done, we're not compatible.
I want to high five Janelle.
Janelle's like, dude, take a
She
hit.
has obviously been the breadwinner the whole time. She's divorcing him like a man, right? She's like, look, buy me out. I'm gonna go talk to my lawyer. Like, yeah, I've already communicated. We're done.
It's so weird to me, Ben, and maybe you can shine some light on this, but it's like, so 2 seasons ago, during the season 16 one-on-one tell-all, the host Suki, she said something to Cody that really ruffled his feathers. She said that Cody has emotionally abandoned these other women.
Totally.
I think she was also referring to some of the kids too.
That's a fantastic. I'm gonna borrow that phrase and now use it forever.
So he said, no, take that back. Like he got real combative with her over that. Not like super combative or anything, but like he got pretty. He took offense to that, and it's interesting to me, like, we watch once Christine, he has put in 0 effort into these relationships. And then when the women are like, okay, bye, he's like, whoa, where are you going? Why is he so, why?
So I actually think I have some insight here, because I think that probably what's going on is that, and I think it's probably the same with the children and the same with him, right? Because what I'm seeing from Cody is like, guys, I did my best. I see that. I see him doing that towards his kids. I see him doing that towards his wives. That's also the energy that my dad came at with me too, right? Like when the last conversation I had with my dad basically was me saying, hey, I require a certain level of care and affection from you in order for you to have me, in order for us to be in each other's lives. And if you can't deliver on that, that's fine, but you are not welcome. I'm not interested in a half-assed dad. So you're either going to give me the love and affection that I want, or you're not going to be in my life. There's no halfways. And his response to that was actually really telling, because he was like, I could see the overwhelm in he's like, I can't do that. I can't provide that level. And I could see the thing turning. He's like, I've got 16 kids. If I give all of these 16 kids the level of care that you're talking about, I will die. I cannot do that. And yeah, you're right. You cannot, which is why no one should have 16 children and 4 wives. You cannot give humans the amount of care and affection that is their fucking birthright of just being born on earth as a human. You deserve a certain amount of love and care and attention, and you can't do that when you have tons and tons of kids. So probably what's happening is that Cody, in his mind, he's thinking, Jesus, I go to Janelle and I spend time with Janelle, and then I go to Christine and I spend time with Christine, and I go to Meri and I spend time with Meri, and then I go to Robin, I spend time with Robin, and then I go to Logan, and then I go to all these kids, and he spends time with all of them. And so from his perspective, it looks like all he's ever doing is being husband and dad. All he's ever doing is pouring himself into these relationships, right? That's what it looks like to him. And what it looks like to everyone else is I get a little slice of your time.
Yeah.
And then you're gone. And then I get a little slice and then you're gone. And then I get a little slice and then I get a little slice and you call me by someone else's name, you know? And so it's just a tragedy because both of them are right? Cody has probably poured himself into these relationships and it hasn't been enough. It hasn't been enough because there's too many of them. There's not enough of him. There literally is not enough of him because he had too many.
Yeah, and because we also get a press release that TLC put out in addition to the trailer. And what I found interesting is there's totally different content to be gleaned from this press release. It does talk about Garrison. I'm not planning on really discussing that with you. I figure that is for however you guys want to talk about it in your own time. So I'm going to bring up the press release now, and they are including that as part of this season. The other thing, I think what is clear is that this season kind of obviously took a turn. And I think what we saw in the trailer that we just watched was what was already filmed. What was really interesting and what I wanted to ask you about that is talked about in this press release is the fact that it says Meri takes her recent decision to leave Cody one step further by appealing to their former church for an official release.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So
Meri, that's the thing.
Yeah. So Meri, does this indicate to you, because something that we've talked about on my channel a lot is that we see in these early episodes, as you will see, them doing home church, and they talk about their church and they talk about their beliefs, and they don't specifically call out the AUB, but they really do talk about that this is their religious conviction. Then it's almost like completely abandoned. We don't talk about their religious conviction at all anymore until Christine left. And Christine was like, I don't believe in any of this anymore. Bye. Like, I don't have to do anything. Yeah. And Robin was like, oh, no, wait. You have to like go get released or whatever.
And she's like, no, I don't.
And so we were kind of like, well, do you guys even believe this stuff anymore? So it seems like, should this seem to indicate to us that Meri is still of the faith system?
That's an interesting question. Because it's also an issue with like people who just like normal ex-Mos who leave Mormonism and then get divorced, because there's what you got to understand is that when someone gets married in Mormonism, there are actually two things that are happening, right?
Okay.
One of the things is that they will get a civil marriage, right? So they will be married legally, but that is not really that important, right? That's just like a formality that you just have to do because you're in the you're in the world, so you got to do it. But the real thing that's important is the sealing, right? Because a civil marriage ends when you die, because God is an asshole. And so only if you get married on earth and you don't do it in the right way, then God's like, fuck you, you don't get to be married in heaven. But if you get married in the right way, which is sealing, then you get to be married in heaven.
Gotcha.
And so that is far more important than a civil marriage. So what's interesting though is like, what do you do with that thing if you no longer believe, right? And so some Mormons will stop believing, and they'll be like Christine, where they're like, look, that's not a real thing. I don't have to give any energy to that. I'm just going to let it go. Some people feel like there is some kind of energetic connection there, and they want that gone, and so they will try to get it either turned down in the AUB they call it getting released, right? They're released from the ceiling, which I think is beautiful.
Well, you know, it's so
free little bird.
I've been asking myself, I've been asking out loud if I could have a conversation with Cody over I mean, these 3 marriages are over now, but before, when he was still clearly no longer wanting to participate in the marriages, but he was still purporting to be married, but why? Like, why? If you're miserable in this life, why would you want to carry that over? So like, yeah, to me, if I'm Meri, hell yeah, I want to be released. I don't want to take this into the next, you know?
Yeah. So I would say that, you know, not knowing really where Meri's at religiously, if she is pushing for a release, there's definitely some energy there, right? Like it's either there's some kind of religious belief, or there's just like a wanting to have that. I mean, the other thing to think about too is like, that's her marriage, right? Like her marriage, she can't get divorced. Although maybe she can. I actually don't know who Cody's legal wife was.
Now it's Robin. As of 2014, I believe.
Did he divorce Meri and then marry Robin?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's a whole thing.
Yeah, his dad did that too.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, his dad was married to my Grandpa Wynn was married to Grandma Janelle legally, and then they got legally divorced, and then he was legally married, I think, to Grandma Cheryl, to Janelle's mom.
Why?
That's like a whole thing to get into. We would need a whole episode to talk about that. But
well, because on the show, it's interesting that you just dropped that little bit of tea there. On the show, the purpose for them to do this paperwork shuffle, which is what they called it, was because Robin has the 3 kids from a previous marriage, and Cody legally adopted them. And in order to do that, it would be far easier if they were legally married. So this was really a sacrifice that Meri made.
Yeah.
That's how it's presented to us on the show. It's so interesting that so much of Cody's life,
patterns upon patterns upon patterns, right?
Yeah.
We just repeat what either you tune in to the patterns that have been programmed into you, and you do the work of intentionally noticing what they are and then consciously choosing new things, or you just do the same thing. You just do the same thing.
You know, it's so funny too, because I think a lot of you had mentioned that you are here for this era of Sister Wives. Like the mask is off. Like let's get down to brass tacks. I go back and forth because as I'm doing my rewatch, I'm like, I'm so nostalgic for like this. I don't even know these people in real life, and I'm so like,
they're just so adorable. They're so innocent, and they don't know anything. They have no idea. They're polygamous, right? They're like kids.
Yes. But it's interesting because there's so much that has been withheld, and of course, like the Browns are entitled to not share what they don't want to share. But when you think of it as this was supposed to be this great PSA for polygamy
reveal,
they're like, to know that Cody's dad legally divorced his mom. None of us knew that. For years on the show, it was tiptoed around that Janelle was previously married to Meri's brother. And in my opinion,
you know what? I learned that from having people make comments about that on my TikTok videos.
That's so interesting.
I didn't even know that. And that's part of the Mormon culture too, right? Of like,
oh, interesting.
You gotta be perfect. You gotta present this facade of perfection, and hide anything that is. So of course we wouldn't know that. You wouldn't talk about something like that. That's weird. I was like probably a teenager before it clicked for me that Janelle's mom, or that Janelle and Cody, that their parents were married. And even as a kid, I was kind of like, that's different.
The whole polygamy thing, that's one thing. But wait, you guys are
but like that just feels weird. Like, wasn't there anyone else?
It doesn't it Meri that says we don't go weird in the first episode, and
and then immediately, like 2 episodes later, Janelle's like, this is my mom. She's married to Cody's dad.
Yes. And at that time too, it was like, it's so funny that, and I think you just reacted to the episode where they go to the ranch. And
I watched that. I haven't actually made any content around it yet.
Oh, okay.
So much.
But you had made a comment in something that you put out that like a good indication of who the favorite wife is where your grandpa.
Where are the John Wayne movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's sad because in that episode, Grandma Janelle is, clearly there's an affection between Cheryl and Janelle.
100%.
And they grew to love each other. You can definitely see that and feel that. But Janelle talks about how hard it was to have this other woman come in and have Win. And it's like, so truly, because at the same time during that episode, we see Cody and Meri talk about how usually it's the woman that's pushing the man into, and it just.
I've heard that story about it's usually the woman pushing the man my entire life. And guess what? It's always men saying that.
Yeah. That's validating to have you say that, because I'm like, this feels not to be the case, because if I'm Janelle and it hurts to see my husband with another woman, I'm not going to be pushing him to be with another woman.
so there's 2 things there, right? So one of them is 100% like that I believe that narrative of like, it's the women that want to do this is 100% a narrative that has been cooked up and fed to women by the men. And they're just, if the men are saying it and the women are just repeating it because that's what they're supposed to do, because this guy is my connection to God. So 100% that's true. And the other thing that you got to really understand is that the point of polygamy is that it's difficult. It's one of the highest laws because it's a refiner's fire. I grew up all the time. We would talk about how polygamy was supposed to make you so jealous. It was supposed, all of the horrible, awful things that happen were just refining and purifying your spirit. And so it's entirely possible that my grandma Janelle felt awful, felt terrible, and still felt like she was that she actually believed that was doing the right thing, that pain was purifying her. And that to me is, I think, one of the grossest. I think that's a gross belief. I think it is absolutely disgusting to trick humans into believing that pain is good for them.
Yeah, I get the sentiment to a degree, because obviously like suffering to a certain extent is inevitable. And to try to put a positive spin on that is probably self-preservation. I can appreciate that, but it's almost like to seek out suffering just seems really
to seek out, and then to specific, because really what's going on there, like if I could go to every member of my family, I would love to do this to every member of my family, to just take their face in my hands and force them to look at me and stop dissociating for 5 seconds and just say to them, the things that you feel in your body are true and you can trust them. Right? Because what my grandma's feeling in her body right then is jealousy. What does jealousy do? Jealousy is an emotion that guards you, that protects you, that makes sure that you get what you fucking deserve. And she's not. She's a woman with 10 children whose husband is now off with some person that has no children. Right. So in that same episode, Grandma Janelle's like, she felt like I took care of the kids and
she took care of Lynn. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's probably what happened. And probably what Grandma was feeling was a ton of jealousy. And what that jealousy was telling her was, bitch, get yours. Mm-hmm. Stand up for yourself. Don't let yourself be treated this way. Go to that man and say, hey, get over here and take care of these fucking kids that you made with me.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been so conditioned in that worldview that our feelings are bad and that our feelings are Satan, that our feelings are trying to sort of tempt us and move us away from the true path, which is difficult and hard. And so when it is difficult and hard, when your life sucks, that's evidence that you're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Ben, we got a lot of support for you here. Ben, I love how respectful you are of your family while also calling them on their BS. That is,
thanks, Leslie.
Yeah. And then Ben, people are gonna want.
I thought everyone knew that. I'll have to. Yeah. There's some real tea there for sure.
Yeah. And we just got some support. Thank you, everyone. Are you excited for season 19?
I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm probably just going to react to it live and just try to catch up.
Sure.
You know what? Actually, though, I think I am. I think that this probably is the best time to watch Sister Wives, because I think that it's probably going to be the most honest that it's ever been. And I also think that we're going to be seeing an empowered version of the OG3, which I think is the coolest thing to happen to the show, right? Yeah. Like if I could design the show to be a certain thing, what I would want it to be was the story of 3 polygamous women being exposed to the world by a TV show, and through that exposure, finding themselves and eat, pray, loving the shit out of that. And I think we're just on the cusp of that. And I think that that's the most magical thing that can happen. And then hopefully Cody and Robin fall madly in love with each other and get to have all of the great lovey-dovey stuff that they could never have because there were those damn bitches running around trying to take away Cody's energy.
Well, thank you so much, Ben, for joining me. And thank you guys on TikTok. If you've been looking at the side of my face this whole time, I do apologize for that. But we've been trying to work the technology angle. So hello, everyone on the I have 7 people watching me on TikTok. Hey, look at that.
You're crushing it. You've also got 150 on my end. So hey, everybody on here, let me just talk to my TikTok. Go give Sarah a follow on TikTok. You can click right here. She's just growing her TikTok, and she's a really great content creator. She, like I said in the video I posted earlier, my favorite thing about Sarah is the just the way that you approach I can tell that you're a human with compassion, and that is important to me. Right. If we're gonna be dealing with human lives, it's absolutely essential that we're compassionate and that we speak the truth. And I think you do a really great job of doing both. So go give Sarah a follow, you guys.
That means a whole bunch, Ben. Because I think it's easy to forget people's humanity, and that at the end of the day, especially going into season 19, we know, unfortunately, that there's going to be some heaviness.
Yeah, it's easy to forget people's humanity when they act poorly. And there are, we saw a number of examples of someone acting pretty poorly.
Yeah.
That's easy to forget that. And I just think that if there's anything that we need in this world right now, it's more compassion for people who are acting poorly, because a lot of us are, and a lot of us have been. And if we are met with compassion when we are acting badly, then there's space for change. And if we are met with vindictiveness, then we double down, right? Oh no, I'm really right. Oh, I'm really right. Right? Compassion has this magical ability to sort of disarm the person that is being an asshole.
Yeah. I do love something that I have seen is all of your cousins, all of Cody's kids, the times that they've come together recently. It say what you want about Cody, and believe me, I've said a lot about Cody.
Yeah.
You can tell that these siblings love the heck out of each other.
Yeah. Totally.
So that is a positive.
That's a positive. They, you know, for all the damage perhaps that the show did to all of them, they also got exposed to a world that was far bigger than anything that they would have been exposed to, far bigger than the world that my siblings were exposed to. And you know, and Cody did that, right? Like Cody created that space. You know, people are complicated, and I think it's important to call out bullshit when we see it, and also to acknowledge that if you just understand where people are coming from and you understand the weight of the momentum behind them, I don't think casual viewers of Sister Wives truly understand the momentum behind, the generational momentum behind someone being polygamous. Because for my family, I'm 7th generation Mormon. That means for 200 years, 200 years, my family has been building momentum in a certain way, and I'm going the opposite way, right? So there's a lot there. And, you know, I would like to believe in a world where we ascribe the best of people to their character and the worst of people to their circumstance and their backstory. Yeah. Let's give people abundant credit for the good that they do, for the good that they chose to do. And let's be compassionate for the bad that they did by recognizing that they had there was a certain movement in the cosmos that created them to be exactly that. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
I was gonna say I don't have anything to say to top that. Ben, thank you so much. It was so good to talk to you again.
Oh, great to talk to you. I always enjoy our conversations. Thanks for giving me the platform, and hi everyone on YouTube. Follow me on YouTube too. I'm also on YouTube.
I feel like such a hip gal.
Yeah, you're so fresh and fleek now. You're on. You know that everyone else thinks that millennials ruined TikTok, right? Like we came onto TikTok when the COVID happened, and we just trashed it for everyone.
Isn't that just what we do?
That is just what we do, millennial. We just show up where nobody wants us.
Boomers hate us. Gen Zers hate us. Like
on that, I want to defend millennials just for a second, because here's the truth about us.
Mm-hmm.
I love Gen Z, by the way. I am 100% rooting for Gen Z to burn the world down. Yes, please. Go do it. And I just need you guys to recognize that the only reason why it's okay for you to have 87 gender identities is because we forced boomers to be okay with gay marriage. That's the only reason. We fought gay marriage so hard as millennials, and then it happened, and we took a ton of shit from the boomers for that. And now you guys get to be the queer little pixie dust artists, dragons, whatever you are, which I love. And it's
all good. Yeah.
All good. We're great.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, if you haven't yet, I'll check out all of Ben's socials, his Instagram, his YouTube, his TikTok is linked in the description of this video. If you're on Ben's TikTok, hello there. Follow me. And Ben, I would love to have you back on sometime during the season, whenever you can make time.
For sure. Yeah. Let's find a fun thing to talk about when the season starts, and we'll do it.
All right, sounds good. All right, you guys, I think we'll sign off, and I don't know how this is gonna go. But anyways, take care, everyone.
Good luck.
Bye.
Sick.